Hello everyone, this is Darshini and in this video we are going to be talking about the magic of butterfly effect. Since this video is the part 1 of a 3-part series, make sure that you watch all the parts in this video series. So, let's get started. First, let's start off with what is butterfly effect. Butterfly effect in simple terms is the small changes that leads to big results, progress or impact. Now you might think, if it is so simple to make big impacts by making small changes, then why aren't everybody in the world doing it? Here's the thing. The reason behind why people are hesitant to make these small changes is because it takes some time for the results to show up. The results are not immediate. Since people don't see significant impact immediately, they conclude that this approach doesn't work. But they don't realize that there is a delay time after they have started making these small changes before the results can show up. Although many acts might look really small on a daily level, only when they are regularly practiced over a period of time the difference can be felt. So, the key here is to remember about the delay time before one can see the results. And be patient and consistent with your efforts in the meantime. Now let's look at 3 different examples of butterfly effect to understand this concept better. Number 1 is about notifications. When your phone just goes sting, you might think that it doesn't really harm you to go and check it out for a second. But the cost of switching your attention constantly is too high. But it's just that its effects cannot be felt on a daily level. But this is one of the major reasons why nowadays people cannot focus on a single task for an extended period of time. When you wire your brain to get comfortable with frequent interruptions and distractions, then your brain will resist and cause you discomfort when you try to focus on a single task. You can check whether your brain has been wired for interruptions or distractions by observing whether you feel like checking your phone or doing any distracting activity in the middle of doing an important project. If your brain is currently wired for focus, then you will be able to comfortably check your phone only during the set period of time and not even think about it during the other times. In case you figure out that your brain is wired for distractions, then you can rewire your brain to focus by making a small change of switching off your notifications. Initially, you might find it very uncomfortable without these notifications since you're so used to having notifications. This act of switching off your notifications can also end up making you check your phone more frequently to check whether you have any emails or messages. But this can be overcome by making it a point to check your phone only during a set period of time. I used to have my notifications on a long time ago. For the past 5 years, I have not had any notifications on my phone. And today, it feels irritating to hear the notification sounds even on others' phones. This is how the brain eventually associates pain with the unhealthy habits, thus making you feel focus as natural and distraction as a painful thing. Here, the small change we are making is switching off your notifications, and the results or impact we are going to feel over time is focus. And the second example is about screen time. Unlike notifications, whose harmful effects cannot be felt on a daily level, in the case of screen time, even on a daily level, a huge difference can be felt. Just compare a day when you're doing a digital detox versus a day when you're normally using your phone, or let's say you're binge watching Netflix. Now, which day will you feel more calmer and happier? If you think using your phone as you normally would, or binge watching Netflix for hours are both pleasurable activities, then think about this. Let's say that you've been using your phone throughout the morning. Now, do you think any productive work can be done in the afternoon or evening of a day in which you had too much of screen time in the morning? Or let's just not consider productivity. Just think, the moment you off your phone or keep it down and realize how many hours you've wasted on your phone, how do you feel about yourself? See, human beings are naturally calm and happy, but it is these devices that make us feel that we are not already enough and happy. So, in order to be able to tap into our natural gifts of calmness and happiness, we have to reduce our screen times. So, by making the small change of reducing your screen time every day, in the long term, you will naturally start to feel more happier and calmer. And the third example is about sleep quality. Let's say that you want to improve your sleep quality. For this, a small change that you can make is deciding that you won't look at any screens or devices at least half an hour or 1 hour before you sleep. In the short term, it's quite difficult to observe its benefits, but in the long term, you will feel more re-energized and refreshed when you wake up. Now let's talk about at which point of making these small changes one gets to see some results. Let's say that you're trying to build a business. In order to start seeing some results, you need to first cross the threshold line. In this graph, the y-axis represents the days of consistent work and the x-axis represents time. When you consistently put in the required work, over time, you will eventually cross the threshold line and start to see some results. Many of you might have seen this little log graph that is usually used to represent progress. Here, there is an initial lag phase and then an exponential growth. And this is the external change that we observe from the outside. In our previous graph, this point to this point is the lag phase and this is the exponential growth phase. Just because in the lag phase we do not see any external changes, that does not mean nothing is happening during that phase. During the lag phase, your internal world shifts to align with the external reality you want to experience. The phase below the threshold line is where the internal changes happen. And the phase above the threshold line is where we can see the external changes. The external world that you experience is a complete reflection of your inner world. So, when you want an external change to occur, an internal change has to occur prior to that. So, the lag phase, or as we have previously mentioned in the video, the delay time is the time required for the internal change to occur. Only when your internal world changes and shifts to align with the external reality you want to experience, an external change can occur. You might think, if there is a delay time, shouldn't it be the same for everybody? Why some people get faster results than others even with equal effort? It's because those who get faster results have become a person who would naturally get those results. If people don't get results or get slower results, it means that they are trying to change the external reality without shifting their internal world. The lag phase or the delay time is also called the critical phase. It is in this phase that one works on their goals before seeing any sort of results. So, it is in this phase that one will be the most susceptible to the mind trying to trick you, telling that you don't feel like putting in the work. Is it even worth putting in the time and effort for it? Or is it even the right path for you, etc. So, these things are all common obstacles that everyone faces in their journeys. But each individual also goes through unique obstacles depending upon their own life and journeys. Obstacles can be of many forms and intensities. When you hear the word obstacle, it might feel really simple. But when you really go through an obstacle, it can feel quite challenging. So, whenever an obstacle arises, remember that it's simply a test that life is throwing at you to check whether your goal is important to you and whether you will pursue it regardless of the circumstances or the obstacles that occur in your life. Most of the times, the hardest part is to notice that it's simply a test that life is throwing at us. Because mostly, whenever obstacles show up in our lives, we generally give different kinds of meanings to it and complicate things. Just by realizing that it's a test, things become easier. When you realize that life is throwing a test at you, all you have to do is accept it and calmly go through it. The moment you have started accepting and stopped resisting the challenges that occur in your life, you would have passed the test and the obstacles will disappear very soon. So in summary, butterfly effect is the small changes that leads to big impacts. Before you see any results, you have to undergo an internal change and become a person who would naturally get those results. So, to make sure that you undergo the internal changes smoothly, you should remember about the delay time it takes to see some results and overcome the obstacles in the process by accepting them and going through them calmly. And in the next video, we will be talking about what prevents people from getting significant results despite making these small changes and what can be done about it. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I genuinely hope that this video is helpful. Hit the like button if you like this video and subscribe to this channel if you choose to improve the quality of your life and achieve your goals smoothly. And see you in the next video.